Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM 106.3. My pleasure to welcome from the Waikanae Community Board, the Chair, James Westbury. Good morning and welcome to you, James.
And good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Lovely to talk to you. I believe you've got a big strategic planning day.
We have indeed. It's the precursor is going to be working through our strategic plan and looking at refreshing what the previous community board agreed in the last triennium. So that's looking at the priorities for Waikanae and areas that we need to focus on as a board and work cohesively together on. It's been one of the real benefits of this community board so far, is we have been very tight-knit and focused on the priorities that we all agreed at the election following that. So I'm really pleased. This is really to formalise and cement those priorities down and present them to council, so that when we start working through the long-term plan arrangements, that our priorities are appropriately reflected in a formalised document. It's harder to not reflect on a document if it's not there. So hopefully we see something happen.
Excellent. You say a formalised document. Is this an internal document or is it a public one?
It's a public document, so at the moment community members are able to access the current community board's strategic plan on KCDC's website. If they look up Waikanae Community Board Strategic Plan, they'll be able to find it there. For those individuals, this is the first iteration where we're working on it to review to ensure that it's politically aligned, but we are going to take that out to the community and ask for their opinion and sign-off once we've got the bones sorted. So we're going to get the straw man prepared, and then we'll be socialising that with the community to make sure our political heads are actually capturing what the community want, because we don't want to be distinctly different from our constituency.
But the thing is that your community has got its distinctions, hasn't it? It is distinctly different, to use your words, but in a completely different context. It is completely different to the other communities, and that's what I find fascinating about what has been called the string of pearls along the Kapiti coast. Waikanae is completely different to Paikakariki and Vive la Différence. So I suppose that it does make sense that each of the communities has got their own priorities, their own document, and their own ways of working towards those priorities.
Well, we're one of the only community boards that's actually got a strategic plan in place. So we went about that in the previous triennium to make sure that we could clearly articulate what we were seeking to achieve and how we would present our views to council in a legitimate, formalised document. And really what we're going to do over this workshop and coming workshops is to refresh that, because any strategy is an organic approach. It does need to change with the times, and what we thought might have been a priority in the previous triennium, is that still relevant and current. We've managed to address some of the issues with the Waikanae Beach with regards to the district plan, and change to ensure that the Waikanae Beach looks from a planning perspective is treated as beach residential, which means it's able to mitigate hopefully any further commercial development down at the Waikanae Beach. So it has been an effective document to assist us, working through both the political spectrum but also the legal spectrum too.
Excellent. James, I wonder if you could explain to people what the point of a planning document is, in that some people might say, well, look, it's all right, you can put your finger in the air and feel which way the breeze is blowing, but you don't know what you don't know, and things keep changing, and lordy me, how they've changed in the last couple of months. And so therefore, what is the point of a strategic document when things keep changing all the time?
Well, it enables us to set our goals and where our vision, like I often describe, in the corporate world, we look after mission, vision and values, and our strategy is trying to encompass those as a board. So what are we seeking to achieve in this triennium and beyond? We try and work on 10-year cycles. So what are we seeking to achieve in the next 10 years? The previous strategy didn't have the library in it because we weren't in the need for a new library, for example. So actually now it really highlights, as a community board, where do we want to focus our efforts and time to enable us to secure a result of having a library back in our community.
And when you say take it out to the community, do you envisage having meetings around the area, or what are you doing? Social media? How are you going to promulgate the revised document?
We haven't actually decided on the mechanism or the process, and no doubt some of that will be discussed tomorrow. But I would envisage, and rather than preempting it, I'd envisage that we'll have some workshops with the community. We'll be publishing it, participation in the local papers and on the local radio stations, such as yourself.
Yes.
But also encouraging people to contact community board members to ensure that their views are able to be incorporated or aligned to where the document is seeking or what it's seeking to achieve.
Now, you mentioned it yourself, the library. It's difficult not to mention the library when we're talking about concerns for Waikanae. Is there any progress to report in terms of the library?
Well, some good progress in some ways. I'd like to, the Waikanae project group for the library has been, reconvened after COVID sort of disrupting the planning process. So we'll be meeting next week to hopefully look at some of the issues affecting where the library might be, what it might look like, how the services might look. And that group's made up or comprised of members of the business community. There's some individuals from high schools, but also members of our more aged sector of the community. So we've tried to take a spectrum of individuals from the community who can participate and ensure that we're reflecting both young and old and the middle band of our community to make sure we get what we get in Waikanae is correct and right for our community at this point in time.
So do you think this is not only a pepper group to try and make sure something does get done, but it's the right something, it's the right shape of the new library for Waikanae?
Indeed, and if we look at some of the new library developments in Paeroa and also in Levin, the facilities are fantastic. They're mixed, multi-use facilities. They've got electronic media, they've got breakout rooms, they've got small office spaces. It's a really clever use of a modern public facility, and I think that's, if we're going to do something like that in Waikanae, let's make the most of the opportunity we've got if we've been provided with it.
Indeed, yes, you mentioned the library in Levin. I tell you what, that library has been leading the pack. They've been innovative for decades in Levin. They've just done a stunning job, and that certainly would be a nice close example of just excellent performance. So we look forward to that, and we look forward to talking to you again here on Beach FM. Thank you so much for your time. James Westbury, Chair of the Waikanae Community Board.
Thank you.
106.3 Beach FM.